Joining us now via the phone is historian Larry Schweikart. He's one of the authors of the brand new book, The Patriots' History Reader. He is also professor of history at the University of Dayton. And Professor, thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure on this nice sunny day.
Well, it's been 235 years this July 4th since the Declaration of Independence was signed, but yet our nation seems totally dependent on other nations. Middle Eastern countries for oil, China for our debt, jobs are being outsourced to non-Americans, and so on. What do you think the Founding Fathers would have to say about this?
Well, the Founders were very clear on issues of debt. Even Alexander Hamilton, who, as I pointed out in my previous book, What Would the Founders Say?, I think gets a bum rap about debt. He wanted the U.S. to have good credit, and at the time that meant paying off the debts, but he was no advocate of having a large national debt. So certainly they would want to see us get our fiscal house in order. I think that they would want us to use our military forces in only issues of national security. Now, you can argue what those are, but I think you'd be hard-pressed to make the case for Libya.
Well, it seems the nation is at a crossroads right now, torn between two totally different ideologies, big government versus a constitutionally limited government, raising the debt ceiling plus taxes versus significant spending cuts and debt reduction. How much of a defining moment is this in history, and how should the nation reconcile these two views?
Well, it is very deeply divided, and it's more divided than I think at the time of the Civil War, though less likely to involve violence because it's not sectional in nature. But the divisions involve a large segment of people who become heavily dependent on the government, especially the federal government, for their daily existence. And we see what's happening in Greece and England right now when they attempt to make even the most reasonable reforms in this thing. People who are dependent on government start to just go bananas. So we are at a crossroads. I'm not yet ready to say that 2012 is the defining moment. It's going to be very, very important, but I wouldn't say that just because a Republican gets in, it's going to be fixed. I think I'm not sure there's enough pain out there yet for people to say, all right, we will do what it takes to really solve the deficit debt problems and unemployment problems in this country.
Okay, but polls find that voters continue to be frustrated with Washington, with a majority feeling that this nation is on the wrong path. We saw the power of the Tea Party in the last election. Are we headed for another, quote, American revolution?
Well, certainly I think that the warning signs are up for the Democrats and Obama, and he gives no indication of wanting to change. That said, I speak at a lot of Tea Party events. I sense that there's a little bit of not apathy, but complacency on the part of the Tea Party and some of the others who marched, a year and a half, 2 years ago, that the idea is that, well, we elected our guys, now let them do the job, and, I'm going to go back to working and, doing things with my family and things like that. So I don't know that the level of engagement is there, but poll after poll shows that people are not satisfied at all with the way things are heading. I think it's over 60% now, and there is a poll out today that said that 1/3 of Americans think this economy is in a permanent state of decline. So this is very serious stuff.
Now, in your #1 bestseller, A Patriot's History of the United States, you laid out a stalwart defense of American exceptionalism. Ronald Reagan spoke proudly of that exceptionalism. Does President Obama believe we're an exceptional nation, in your view?
Absolutely not. And one of the reasons we included the Cairo speech in the Patriots History Reader was we wanted to have one representative document of not just Obama, but of kind of the new progressives and how they view America as distinctly not exceptional. Their view, and Obama said it, well, the French think they're exceptional. Well, no, they don't. None of them think they're exceptional in the way America was developed as exceptional. And very quickly, that involves 4 founding features. One is that we have a common law tradition that says that the law bubbles up, it's given from God to the people, and it bubbles up from the bottom to the ruler, as opposed to civil law where it's given to the ruler and he dictates it to everybody else. Second is a Christian and largely Protestant religious worldview. Third is a free market economy. And last is widespread availability of property and land rights. Now, you can't find those four features in almost any other modern country. Maybe England, maybe Switzerland to some extent.
Well, your newest book, The Patriots' History Reader, takes readers on a journey through American history via a collection of historical documents that shed light upon the United States' more defining moments. Of the documents that you write about in the book, which is most relevant to today, do you think? And do you have a favorite document?
Well, you know, you could pick any 10 of them as most relevant, but one of them that really does strike me, especially with the court case regarding Obamacare coming up before too long, is the New Deal case of Schechter, United States versus Schechter. It's often called the sick chicken case. And in this case, Roosevelt's New Deal administration was literally dictating to people which chicken they could buy. A group of Hasidic Jewish butchers, kosher butchers, were allowing their own customers to pick the chicken that they would have butchered for them to take home for their meal. And the New Deal government literally said, oh, you can't have that one, you've got to take the first one that comes by, even if it's sick. The Schechters, one of them at least, went to jail over this. It was appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court overwhelmingly struck it down, and not only struck down that particular part of the National Recovery Act, but basically throughout the whole framework of the early part of the New Deal as being excessively totalitarian, and just said it's unconstitutional.
All right. Well, again, the book is called The Patriots' History Reader. Professor Larry Schweikart, thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on the book.
Thank you very much.